In the quiet town of Blackwood Falls, nestled deep in the New England woods, stood an old Victorian house that everyone avoided. It had been abandoned for decades, ever since the Harrington family vanished one stormy night in 1923. Locals whispered that the house wasn't empty. It was waiting. My name is Emily Carter, and I never believed in ghosts. I'm a real estate flipper, always looking for undervalued properties to renovate and sell for a profit. When the Harrington house went up for auction at a ridiculously low price, I saw dollar signs. No one else bid. I got it for pennies. The day I moved in with my tools and a sleeping bag, planning to stay overnight to get a head start on renovations, was a crisp autumn afternoon. The house creaked as I stepped onto the porch, like it was sighing in relief, or maybe warning. Inside, dust hung thick in the air, and sheets covered the furniture like shrouds. The wallpaper peeled in long strips, revealing faded patterns of roses that looked almost bloody in the dim light filtering through grimy windows. The foyer opened into a grand staircase that spiraled upward, its banister carved with intricate vines that seemed to twist unnaturally in the shadows. I started in the living room, ripping down the old drapes. Cobwebs clung to my hands like sticky fingers. That's when I heard it the first time. A whisper. It was faint, like wind through cracks in the foundation, but it formed words. Stay! I laughed it off. Old houses settle, pipes groan, animals in the walls. Rational explanations for everything. I chalked it up to my imagination running wild from all the ghost stories I'd heard about the place. By evening, I'd cleared a space in the master bedroom upstairs. The four-poster bed was surprisingly intact under its dusty sheet, the mattress firm enough after a quick beating to remove the grime. I unrolled my sleeping bag on it and set up a small camp stove for dinner. As night fell, the house grew colder, unnaturally so, even for fall. Frost formed on the inside of the windows. I bundled up in extra layers and tried to sleep, the silence outside broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl. The whispers returned. Louder this time, multiple voices, overlapping like echoes in a cavern. Join us! She's here! I sat bolt upright, heart pounding, flashlight in hand sweeping the room. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating empty corners, a wardrobe with doors slightly ajar, and the vanity mirror cracked across its surface. Nothing, just shadows dancing from the trembling light. Hello! I called out, feeling foolish. No answer, except another whisper, closer now, as if breathed directly into my ear. Emily! How did it know my name? Panic surged, but I forced it down. I must have imagined it. Or maybe I'd muttered it aloud earlier when labeling my tools. I didn't sleep much that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust rattling the windows sounded like footsteps pacing the hallway. At one point, I swore I heard a child's giggle from downstairs. By dawn, exhausted and jumpy, I packed up and left, telling myself I'd return with proper equipment, and maybe a friend for company. But greed won out. The house was mine, a potential gold mine if I could flip it quickly. Time was money, and delays meant lost profits. 2 days later, I came back armed with paint cans, power tools, and a portable heater. This time, I brought my dog, Max, a big German shepherd who feared nothing. Not thunderstorms, not strangers. If there was anything weird lurking, he'd alert me with his deep bark. Max whined the moment we crossed the threshold, his tail low. He sniffed the air warily and refused to go upstairs, pacing and growling low at the base of the staircase as if something invisible blocked his path. Come on, boy. It's just an old house. Nothing to worry about. I worked downstairs all day, sanding the hardwood floors until they gleamed faintly under the dust, patching cracks in the plaster walls. Max stuck close to me, ears perked, occasionally letting out a soft growl toward empty rooms. As dusk approached, painting the fading light orange through the windows, the whispers started again. This time, they were clearer, distinct voices cutting through the hum of my sander. A woman's voice, soft and pleading, "Help us." A child's, high and playful, "Play with me." And a man's, deep and rumbling with anger. "Get out while you can!" Max exploded into furious barking, lunging at the walls, snapping at nothing. I dropped my tool and tried to calm him, but he bolted to the front door, pawing frantically at the wood to escape. That's when my battery-powered work lights flickered wildly, though the batteries were fresh. The temperature plummeted further, my breath coming in visible puffs. Ice crystals spread across the windows like veins. Heart racing, I grabbed Max's collar and dragged him outside into the chilly night. We spent the hours until morning huddled in my truck, engine running for heat, Max finally calming but still watchful. The next morning, back in town at a coffee shop with Wi-Fi, curiosity overrode my fear. I researched the house's history. The Harringtons. Father Elias, a reclusive scholar. Mother Beatrice, known for her beauty. Daughter Clara, age 8, with golden curls, and son Thomas, age 5. They disappeared without a trace during a blizzard. No bodies ever found. Rumors swirled of a cult Elias was involved in, or a murder-suicide gone wrong, or something far worse. Previous owners who tried to live there fled, reporting voices that drove them mad. I should have walked away then, listed it as is and cut my losses. But the house was pulling at me, an inexplicable draw, like it wanted me there specifically. Determined to debunk it all, I returned alone. Max flat out refused to get in the truck. I brought a digital voice recorder this time, planning to capture any whispers and analyze them later for wind or rodents. That afternoon, while stripping wallpaper in the parlor, a room with a grand fireplace blackened by centuries of soot, I uncovered something hidden. A false panel in the wall that swung open to reveal a narrow door. It led to a basement I'd completely missed on my initial walkthrough. Steep wooden stairs descended into pitch blackness, the air growing heavier with each step. Armed with my flashlight and recorder running, I went down. The damp, moldy scent assaulted me, mixed with something metallic, like old blood. At the bottom, a large chamber with rough stone walls. In the center stood an altar-like stone table, its surface stained dark brown. Rusty chains dangled from the ceiling beams. Symbols were carved deeply into the floor. Pentagrams, inverted crosses, arcane runes that hurt to look at directly. On the altar lay a leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed but intact. Elias Harrington's precise handwriting filled it. He wrote about discovering the entities below when digging the foundation deeper. How the house was built atop an ancient gateway to something older than the land itself. The voices promised power, knowledge, immortality, if he fed them souls. The entries grew frantic. He performed rituals, first animals, then, in desperation during financial ruin, his family. But it backfired. The entities took them all, pulling their essences into the house's very structure. The walls, the floors, the shadows. The house hungers eternally, his final entry read. It whispers to lure new blood. They become part of it. Forever. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the book. Then, the whispers erupted around me. No longer faint but a chorus filling the basement. "Welcome home, Emily. You found our secret. Now join us. Feed us." I bolted up the stairs, slamming the hidden door shut behind me. But the voices followed, seeping through the walls like smoke. That night, as storm clouds gathered outside, I tried to leave. The front door wouldn't budge. Locked from the inside, though I'd left it unlatched. Windows were sealed as if painted shut. My phone showed no signal, even when I held it up to the glass, though it worked fine the moment I stepped outside earlier that day. Trapped inside as thunder boomed, I barricaded myself in the master bedroom, furniture pushed against the door, recorder still capturing everything. The voices grew insistent, personal. Clara's childish lilt begging me to play hide and seek in the attic. Beatrice's maternal tone offering tea and comfort. Elias's grave warning of eternal torment if I resisted the call. Then came the physical manifestations. Scratches from inside the walls, like nails dragging slowly. Thumps overhead, footsteps pacing the attic directly above. Doors downstairs slamming on their own. Shadows detached from corners, slithering across the floor toward me. In the cracked vanity mirror, my reflection lagged behind my movements, and pale faces. Clara's wide-eyed stare, Beatrice's hollow cheeks, Elias's stern glare, peered over my shoulder, mouths moving in silent whispers. Hours blurred into a nightmare haze. I hadn't eaten since morning, barely sipped water. Exhaustion clawed at me, but fear kept me awake until it finally won. I fell into a fitful sleep, dreaming of the basement altar. The Harringtons chained there, not dead but trapped in limbo, their eyes pleading. The entities, formless voids with tendril-like appendages, loomed behind them. They reached for me through the dream. Help us escape by taking our place. One soul for four. I woke screaming, drenched in sweat despite the freezing air. The house was silent now. Eerily, oppressively silent. Morning light finally pierced the curtains. Trembling, I tried the door. It opened easily. I stumbled out into the foggy dawn, vowing never to return, leaving tools and everything behind. But as I drove away down the overgrown driveway, tires crunching on fallen leaves, I heard it one last time, faint but clear through the open window. You'll be back. They all come back. The hunger grows. It's been weeks now. I sold the house site unseen to some anonymous out-of-town buyer, taking a massive loss just to be rid of the deed. I try to move on, to forget. New apartment, new projects. But at night, in the quiet, I hear the whispers again. Faint at first from the vents or the walls. Emily, join us. The walls here seem thinner somehow. Too thin. Sometimes, in the bathroom mirror, I catch glimpses. Pale faces lingering just behind my reflection. The house let me go. But it sent them with me. They're patient. Whispering. Waiting. Hungry. And soon, very soon, I know I'll answer the call.